to the Mother-Daughter Disney podcast. My name is Amanda. I'm here with my lovely mother.
Hi, I'm Janette.
And today we're going to rank the Magic Kingdom resorts. So there are 4 Magic Kingdom resorts, technically 3 on the monorail, but we are counting Fort Wilderness here. The 4 Magic Kingdom resorts are the Contemporary Resort, Fort Wilderness, the Polynesian Resort, and the Grand Floridian Resort. So there's 4 resorts here that we're going to rank. And so I forget the exact parameters I told you to rank them by, but I think it was just like how much you would stay here, like east to the park, amenities that the resort itself has and everything. So, all right, what is your number 4?
My number 4 is Fort Wilderness.
Right, I also had 4. I was going to say, I think we're going to have the same
because
ranking.
The atmosphere in Fort Wilderness doesn't really interest me.
But yeah, neither of us are like camping people,
no,
right?
camping
like, we're not
or
big camping people, we're not cabin
rustic
people.
thing. And everything is bus transportation because they're not on the monorail. They're not, you can't walk to the parks. You can't do anything. So Fort Wilderness was my 4th choice. There's really not much to talk about because we've never stayed there either.
Yeah, we've never stayed there, but yeah, I agree. I think Fort Wilderness, because Fort Wilderness has a lot going on, right? They have the cabins, they have the campsite, they're building those new bungalows as well. So eventually one day those are going to open too, which will be nice. But I think overall, again, I've never gone camping in a general sense, right? So I'm not going to be pulling up with my RV to go camping because I've just never
Some
been
people
a camping
love
person.
it. I mean, they
That's what I'm
absolutely
saying.
love
There's
it.
a strong community who goes to Fort Wilderness, which I absolutely love, honestly.
Yes.
But again, it's just not really for us. It's not really something that I grew up with going to either. No. I think the biggest thing I love about Fort Wilderness is the Tri-Circle D Ranch that they have.
Yes.
Which are pretty close to that, honestly.
That was cool.
And I love that aspect because I love horseback riding. I think horseback riding is so fun. And we did do that in Disney World one time, which was really cool. And it was fun too when we did that because the trail that you go on, it's not nothing too crazy, of course, it's Disney. No. But we saw the cabins of Fort Wilderness.
Yes, they bring you through that area, yes.
Which is really cool because otherwise you can't get to those cabins unless you're staying on property. Yes. It's very strict of who can get in and out of those cabins, especially when around 4th of July, when they have the 4th of July golf cart parade that they do. That's a fan-made
I would love to be
thing.
around there at Christmas when it's getting dusk and everything's lit up because people really do go all out.
Yeah, it's a big thing that's there that I absolutely love. But again, just something we've never participated in. But also, again, I'm not a big camping person to begin with. So I think I would never lean towards Fort Wilderness.
Yeah, the atmosphere is not something that
not
I'd
a big
say,
camping
let's go.
person. And again, I agree too. It is a full bus resort as well. So it's kind of weird that it is a Magic Kingdom resort, even though you can't use the monorail. So inconvenient in that way. And you do share a bus with the Contemporary Resort, of course, as well.
Yes.
But again, overall, that's why Fort Wilderness is number 4. Maybe one day, I would be interesting to see when those new bungalows over the water open, what those look like.
Right on the water.
Maybe I could be swayed that way or something one day. But as of right now,
I still wouldn't
yet.
be swayed.
All right, what's in your number 3?
My Grand Floridian.
Okay, you put that as number 3.
Yes, because I do love the Grand Floridian. I love going there. I love being there. I like the restaurants. I like the bar. I like the things. Grand Floridian is very expensive. And when you think of the Grand Floridian, it is beautiful to stay at. It is on the monorail, which is great. But I think price point, location, as much as I love the decorating in the Grand Floridian, I would make it my 3rd choice because if I had a choice, I would go to the other 2 hotels first because they're cheaper. I would be saving money at the same time.
Yeah, to get similar
I can still go hang in the
experience,
Grand Floridian if I really wanted to. So
no, that's fair. And my number 3, I had the Contemporary. So I put the Contemporary here mainly because I just like the other 2 better. That's really all it comes down to. Now it's hard because there's only 4, right? We're only ranking 4 resorts, so it's difficult in that sense.
Right.
But that's not to say I dislike the Contemporary. Obviously, I do love the Contemporary resort, but we'll talk more about it when we get to it on your list instead. So, all right, what did you have in number 2 then?
Well, number 2 and number 1 were hard for me. To me, the Polynesian and the Contemporary sort of are together. Now, if we're talking just about the hotels, okay, not the timeshares, we're talking about just the hotels. So if we're talking about just the hotels, the Polynesian would be my first choice because I love the tropical atmosphere.
Yeah.
I just love the tropical. I love to be in the Polynesian because to me, it's like being in Hawaii or being in that South Seas kind of feeling. I just love that. That's why I love Adventureland so much. It's just that feel for me of being there. So if it was just the hotels we're talking about, well, then the Polynesian catches my attention because I would really love to just stay in that whole atmosphere of walking around the property and being there. And the location is good. I mean, you're on the monorail. It's a little bit of a long walk if you want to walk to the Magic Kingdom or come out of the Magic Kingdom at night, but it just has that feel to it. So that's what I like. But now I'm going to kind of combine it with the Contemporary. I know that doesn't go with the ranking of it, but the Contemporary, I like the idea that you can walk back the Magic Kingdom, that you can go back and forth to the Magic Kingdom, because Magic Kingdom has always been when the fireworks are over and you're tired and you want to go home, it is always the worst place to get out of. Sometimes there's the bottlenecks and the people and the things and stuff. I just like the idea. And the Contemporary I like because you can go upstairs and watch the fireworks. Now, if you were talking about staying in Bay Lake as opposed opposed to Contemporary where we own, I would make it my first choice because I love the bar upstairs. I love the fact that we can go upstairs and watch the fireworks. I love the fact that it has the sleep chair as opposed to just most of the hotels just have the 2 beds. So Contemporary and Polynesian to me were kind of the same.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
I think they're priced almost exactly the same too if you're booking the rooms, if you're going to the hotel. So to me, I could not separate out except for the fact that if I did really have a choice, Polynesian would be my first and Contemporary would be my second because I really want that atmosphere. Yes.
Yeah, so that's why I had, so like for my rankings, I had Contemporary third, Polynesian as second, and Grand Floridian as first. Now, part of the reason why too, because I also really factored in the pools as well here.
Yes.
So now the Contemporary pool, while it does have a slide that's pretty cool, their pool is nothing really special in my opinion. Whereas the Polynesian pool is so gorgeous.
Yes.
They have, I think, one of the best pools on property, honestly.
Yes.
Like maybe up besides like beach and yacht club, obviously that's just on its own level versus everyone else.
Right.
The Polynesian pool is so lovely.
Yeah,
it is
that's
so
what
pretty.
I mean about the Polynesian.
It's gigantic.
The atmosphere.
Yeah, it is so nice
Yes.
when you're there. It's just so pretty. And honestly, even the Grand Floridian's pool, they have the big splash zone with the Alice in Wonderland splash zone. That is so awesome. None of the other resorts really have something like that.
No, they don't have that.
Like
Right.
that's very special and unique splash zone to the Grand Floridian. So I feel like in that sense, if you're a big pool person, again, you're going to the parks, you're so close after the park of Magic Kingdom, especially even Epcot, to go back to your resort and go in the pool. It's just so convenient in that sense,
Right.
you know? So I love that as well. Again, going towards the atmospheres, that's how I kind of rank the atmospheres as well. Whereas I like the Grand Floridian's atmosphere the first. I also like their amenities, I think the best too. It's like I love the idea of like first of all, Grand Floridian is huge, right? They
Yes.
have a huge property. I feel like it's very underrated and overlooked how large the property of the Grand Floridian is.
It is very big.
Now the Grand
long
Floridian
walk to get to everything.
The Grand Floridian and the Polynesian also have the launch boats as well. So for instance, like even leaving the park at the end of the day, you can walk from the park to Grand Floridian. It's a long walk.
Yes.
It's for me when I ran it during the half marathon, it's a little bit less than 10 minutes. So I say walking wise, it'd be around 20
Right,
minute
that's
walk.
what I mean. They still have
But
transportation.
they also have those private like launch boats that only go from Magic Kingdom to the Grand Floridian and the Polynesian. And the Grand Floridian was the first stop. So when you're
Right.
leaving the parks, you can always get on that launch boat and get on
And go
that
there.
rather than doing
I
the
always forget
monorail.
about the launch boats.
Yeah, rather than doing the monorail, whereas the Grand Floridian is the last stop on the resort monorail
Right.
loop, right? So again, I think that's just really nice as well. And again, now that they opened up that really nice walkway, it actually is a very nice walkway, all things
It
considered.
is very pretty. It
Fully
needs more
well lit.
trees, but
yeah,
yes.
it could use more trees, but yeah, fully well lit though, at least the thing. But at the end of the day, it's the sunset already, and then you're in a fully lit, nice walkway and you walk back to your
Right.
resort. Obviously, a long walk, of course,
Yes.
but still something that you can do in theory.
Well, it's
Especially
just like you can walk to the Polynesian if you really wanted
yeah,
to,
no,
too.
you
It's a
definitely
long
could as
walk,
well.
but
Yeah,
you can
long
walk.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
That's where the Contemporary has them beat, where the Contemporary walk is so short.
Short.
You're like
It's right there.
You're there within like
Right.
10 minutes, right? So it's so short and it's so quick, especially to be like even faster, honestly. So
Right.
I feel like that's where Contemporary kind of wins over the other three in that sense.
Right.
Now, if we go to food wise, I think restaurant wise, I like the restaurants, I think in Grand Floridian better.
Yes.
Like the Grand Floridian Cafe, one of my favorite restaurants
one of my
overall.
favorites, yes.
Even their quick service as well, too. I forget what the quick service is called. It's over by like the Rose thing, by
Right.
the pool. A really great quick service with like the food options. I think overall, I like the food options. They're better than the Polynesian, the Contemporary as well. So again, it's like food wise, I kind of like even like the Enchanted Rose bar that the Grand
Yes, the
Floridian
bar
has.
is very nice.
Such a lovely bar, such amazing atmosphere as well too. Just like hang out in the bar. I think about the lobby too. It's like they often have the live pianist who plays in the lobby. It's like they have more stores as well too. They have like the regular clothing store. They have the Disney store. They have the basin store for the soap. So you kind of have stuff like that you can also do. They also have the Bippity Boppity Boutique as well in Grand Floridian. So that's something that you're doing.
Well,
It's kind of fun.
I guess maybe when I thought of it, I like the atmosphere in the Grand Floridian. I love going there. We go there all the time. We go hang out in the lobby. We go to
Yeah.
the Grand Floridian Cafe. We go to the Bell Bar. We do all that.
yeah, Park
the
1700.
Enchanted Rose. The difference is that when I was thinking about it, like I said, the big thing for me was the price point.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because if you're talking about just going to the hotels, the price point for me was the deciding
No, I
factor
agree,
not
yeah.
to make it. It's like when you said, when you're talking about all the things in there, I'm like, okay, I can go do all those things, but not
And
have to
stay at a
pay the
different
price
resort,
point
yeah.
of
No, I see
staying
what
in
you
their
mean.
room.
No, that's fair.
Yes,
So-
that's what made me say, because I said it was very hard. Once we knocked Fort Wilderson out,
Straight to Fort Wilderness. Gosh.
the other three were kind of like right there.
Yeah.
So, and like I said, I could knock
No,
the
I
Grand
agree,
Floridian
yeah.
out because, like, for me, the price point, when I think, oh my God, I got to pay for that room, it is a tough price
Expensive,
point.
yeah.
It is.
And it's a big jump in comparison to the other
Yes,
resorts.
but you're paying for where you're staying, and it is a beautiful atmosphere.
And that is fair. Like you could stay at any resort and still get the
Still
amenities
get
of
that.
the
So
Grand
that's what
Floridian.
like I said, when you're talking about all these things, I agree. It's absolutely beautiful. And that's what made Contemporary and Polynesian so hard to pick 2 and 1, because their price points are a little bit closer similar, so that if you're looking at each one, they have pros and cons to both of them.
Yeah.
So I really couldn't pick a 1 and a 2 between those
No,
two.
for sure. Like if we go to Polynesian again, I love the atmosphere with Polynesian as well. I know a lot of people say like this is their number one resort because it's such a fun resort to stay at. Again, like I've heard very positive things overall only from the Polynesian, right? Again, even like their main lobby, it's like the resort itself. Again, another large resort that
Yes.
that
Oh,
you
God,
don't
we
think
got
is as
lost
big
in
as it
there
is.
one
Yeah, it's
time.
another large resort. Like
Yes.
Contemporary is honestly the smallest out of all of them. So
Yes.
yeah, another really large resort that is again lots of rooms you can stay in. Again, they
It has
also
a whole
have,
different atmosphere.
Yeah, there are bungalows too that's over the water. Again, they also have they used to have the art store. I think now the art store is closed.
Yes.
You can also get Dole Whips too at the Polynesian, which is very special too because you
Right,
can only
can't
get the
get
Dole
those
Whip
anyplace
in
else,
Magic
right.
Kingdom and at the Polynesian Resort, which is really fun. And they also tend to have a lot of the specialty little cones as well, like the 626 cone for steaks. I remember that was like a big thing on June 26th when they had
I would really like to
626
stay in the
cone.
Polynesian one time.
Yeah, I would love to stay in Polynesian as well too. And I feel like if I was staying there, I would want to make it more of a bigger trip because then I would want to use the pool. I
Yes.
would want to use all the amenities. Even their Captain Cook's quick service is also very good too. So
Right.
I wouldn't want to do all the things there. Like we would go to Ohana and everything like that too, the
Right.
restaurant.
While you're in the
Yeah,
hotel.
even Kona Cafe is like so good. It's like
Yes.
I want to
we eat
stay.
there.
It's like,
We used to eat there a lot too.
yeah, like this trip would be dedicated to like we're staying at the Polynesian and we're doing a lot of resort
Right.
stuff because we're paying to stay here
Stay
type
there,
of thing.
right.
I guess that's kind of how I saw Grand Floridian too. Like if I was paying to stay in Grand Floridian, it's like, well, I'm spending time here at the Grand Floridian. I'm making a use of the restaurants and the amenities that are here
Right.
because this is what I want to see and this is what I want to pay for and be with, right? Whereas again, I still love the Contemporary too. Again, it's hard because it's technically number 3, but I mean, like again, it's hard to kind of rank them because they're all
Yeah,
quite
it is.
similar.
It's very hard. They all have their pros and cons. They're all so different.
Yeah.
They all have
No.
their own draw.
That's what I'm saying. Like Contemporary has Steakhouse 71, arguably one of the best restaurants in all of Disney property, right?
Right.
Steakhouse
They are
71
very
is so
good.
good.
Yes.
Again, you have like California Grill if you want to see the fireworks
Right.
from
You want to
somewhere
go
up
upstairs
above.
and see the fireworks.
Again,
Right.
even the atrium in Contemporary is really nice, honestly. It is so cool to see the monorail go through a building.
Right.
you
Just
know?
hang out there. You can watch the
It's like-
fireworks from there too.
Yeah, it's
So-
one of those things that you can easily take for granted sometimes. But it's
Right.
like, I remember when some of my friends saw that for the first time, they're like, that's crazy that it's like, it just
Goes
goes
right
through
through
this
the
building,
hotel.
that it's just silent as it goes through, that the structure was made for this monorail to go
Right.
through it, you know? Like, that's really cool, honestly. And something like that shouldn't be taken for granted because
Right.
it's awesome. It's like, that's such a cool amenity of the Contemporary Resort. Even like getting on and off the monorail, you're fully indoors, actually,
Right.
if you think about it.
I have to say,
So-
my one thing about the Contemporary is I'm not crazy about the design.
yeah, like the modern decor, the 70s
the modern decor, and now it's the Incredibles or whatever it is that they have in
It's
their
still a
rooms and
70s
stuff.
modern decor. It's
Yeah,
not my
it's just
favorite.
the decor itself does not do
But-
anything for me. When I go to the Grand Floridian or the Polynesian and you see the decor, that's what catches me in those hotels.
Yeah.
Where, like I said, all three of them have their pros and cons as to which one you stay at, but the Grand Floridian and Polynesian have more of an atmosphere.
No, for sure. Again, that's what I would say too. Like Contemporary also has like Chef Mickey's. Chef Mickey's is
Yes.
one of the most popular
Oh, God,
breakfast
yeah.
spots, you know, in all of Disney. Which is funny because even when I was there with some of my friends, some of them saw Chef Mickey's and was just like, I feel like I was there when I was like 6 or 7 years old. It's like, yeah, that was the place that everyone used
Everyone
to go
went
to
when you
was
have
Chef
little
Mickey's.
kids.
Yeah.
It was great.
Now we have Topolino's Terrace at Riviera, which is very
is that
similar
where
to
everybody's
Chef.
going now?
Well, it's similar in the way you can meet like a lot of the big like Mickey and Minnie
Mickey
and
and
everyone
them.
like that. So
Okay.
like, because that was the thing back in the day, Chef Mickey's was like one of the few
Where you met
places you
Mickey
can meet
Mouse.
Mickey and
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Goofy and Pluto, where it's like you want to meet the main characters. I say in quotes, the main characters. Where now Topolino's Terrace also does that for breakfast
okay.
too, so you can meet them also
So
there.
it splits. Okay.
But their outfits a little bit different though. If you don't want the little chef outfits, again, it's like, you know, they're wearing different stuff. I still would love to do breakfast at Topolino Terrace. One day we're gonna have to try to
Okay.
do that. So just because I think it's so cute. So and then we'll meet all the characters. I'm not a huge meet and greet character person, but it's like I feel like I should get better at it for sure. I need to embrace meeting the
Yeah, I'm
characters.
past the characters,
I need to
but-
get past my awkwardness. I'm just really awkward when I try to talk to a
okay, fair.
character. So yeah, but again, it's like that's what I'm saying. All 3 resorts have great
That's
amenities.
what I said. When you gave me this choice, I
But-
was like, okay, I don't know what to do. I
Yeah.
kept going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. I didn't know what to do.
Yeah, but I do think the Polynesian has the best pool out of all of the
Yes, it
resorts.
does.
I think they rank for the best pool. I think food-wise, I actually do like the Grand Floridian's
Floridian
food
has the
better
best
than all
food.
the other ones. I think for like the uniqueness, I do like how the monorail goes through the Contemporary Resort's uniqueness. I think that's really cool in that sense. And again, also for Contemporary, that you can walk so close to Magic Kingdom.
Yes.
Like that's really awesome. And also Contemporary to the Ticketing Transportation Center is one stop, so you can
Yes.
actually get to Epcot a little bit quicker too. Now, obviously, coming back from Epcot, you have to go through all the stops, but
Right.
still getting to Epcot is a little bit quicker as well. So, but yeah, but overall, it was hard to rank them because again, there's only 4 resorts.
Yeah, it's very hard.
So I will say this podcast idea actually came from my fiance because when we were in the car yesterday, I asked him, I was like, I need a 3rd podcast idea for tomorrow. And he was just like, well, why don't you I was like, I want to rank something. I was like, what should we rank? He's like, well, why don't you rank the resorts? And I was like, well, let's do we can't rank all the resorts.
No,
It's
not all at
resorts.
once, no.
And my mom, we actually have episodes, I think, on all of these now
Yes.
that you've done. My mom has done resort
Deep
rundowns
dives.
on all of these. So we'll definitely have those as well, that you can deep dive into all of these resorts.
Because like I said,
So-
they all have their draw.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. When he said that, I was just like, I love that idea, but it's hard to do that. It's like, and that's where it's like, let's do Magic Kingdom first, and then maybe next we'll do the Epcot resorts, which will also be hard as well.
God,
'cause
that's gonna
those
be hard
ones-
too.
Although I already know who my number one is for Epcot.
Yeah.
I know who your number one is for Epcot probably as well.
Right.
Yours is probably the Boardwalk, right?
Boardwalk.
Yeah,
I
was
love
gonna
the
say.
boardwalk. I do. I love the boardwalk.
No, for sure. I think mine maybe, I've never stayed there, but I think mine could be the Beach Club.
Beach
So,
Club?
yeah.
No, I like the Beach Club and the Yacht Club, but I got to tell you, I
nice
love
Beach
the
Club.
boardwalk.
I do love the Boardwalk.
I just
too.
love the lobby. I love. We'll get to that when
Yeah,
we
we'll do that another
Yes,
episode.
but
Anyway,
I got to tell
back to
you,
Magic
I love
Kingdom
the boardwalk.
Resorts.
Okay.
Again, it's like, I think, even Fort Wilderness, I think all the resorts have their pros and cons.
Yes.
So again, I feel like it just comes down to like personal preference.
Right, and that's what's really great is that, it's what you want, you can just pick and choose. And, there's something for everybody,
for
and
sure.
the details are just exactly what you look at. Like people who go and stay in these hotels, you're right. A lot of times people stay in these hotels and they don't even see the hotel.
Mm-hmm.
They, rope drop at the parks, go home, go back, go home, go back, go back. When we used to stay at the Marriott, we didn't go to the park every day, rope drop and stay all day. We would spend time at the resort.
We did, yeah.
Because the pool was
Especially when you have
beautiful.
kids, because kids want to go in the pool. They want to swim and have
Yes,
fun,
you wanted to
know?
go to the pool. You wanted to
Especially
swim.
because we didn't have a pool growing up.
No.
So the only time I ever went in a pool was on vacation.
Yes.
So to me, I associate swimming
It was a
as
treat.
as a vacation.
Right.
Yeah, it's like a
And
vacation.
even for me, it
thing.
was a treat
Yeah.
at the time to sit in the sun and be, sit by the edge of the pool
Mm-hmm.
and watch you guys and just be there. So for us, it was the resort. So at these hotels, each one has a different resort experience, and it all depends upon what you're looking for.
No, for sure. Now, one other thing just to mention is that, again, we kind of said this with Fort Wilderness. Fort Wilderness and the Contemporary share a bus usually. The Grand Floridian and the Polynesian also share a bus
Right.
too. So just to note that it's like when you do take the buses, you're usually almost always sharing.
Yeah, we're always sharing with another hotel.
I think there are a few places where they will have, like the Grand Floridian and Polynesian have their own buses. That's like a direct bus. Even Contemporary, there's a few places where you get a direct
Every
bus.
once in a while, we'd get on a bus that would not stop anyplace else. It would go straight. So
That's what I'm saying.
sometimes
Some of
those
the
schedules change.
routes are like
Yes.
direct, but for the most part, they almost always
Yes.
share. So
Yeah.
just to note that you do share a bus with your
Right.
partner. So, but all right, yeah, that's the four main Magic Kingdom resorts ranked. It was again a very hard ranking.
Very hard to
because There's only four, so and they're all good. Honestly,
Yes.
even Fort Wilderness too. It's good
Yes,
in
I'm
its
sure
own
it's
sense.
good. It's just not my thing.
All right, so normally this is where we have a little bit of Disney news, but this is a very pre-recorded episode over a month in advance. This is over
Right.
a month and a half in advance. We're pre-recording
It's
this
been a busy
episode.
year.
Yeah, it's just been very busy with a lot of travel and vacations and everything like that. So
Mm-hmm.
it's just like, yeah, it's just been a little bit busy in that sense. But again, we still love doing these podcasts. That's where we're doing them. But instead, let's do some Disney birthdays. The only birthday we have is on July 17th. Do you know the infamous day of July 17th? I guess she doesn't know. July 17th is when Disneyland opened 70 years ago.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So July 17th, 1955 is when Disneyland in California opened up for the
I
first
wasn't even
time.
born yet, thank God.
And that was 70 years ago. So Disneyland is doing a lot. She says it because she was born in December of 1955.
At least I wasn't born yet.
But Disneyland, I'm sure they've been doing a lot of stuff that they're going to celebrate the 70th celebration of Disneyland opening.
It's older
Very
than me
exciting.
these days.
So a lot of stuff that's been going on, I'm sure. But again,
Yes, I saw a lot of
I don't know everything that's going on because again,
Okay.
this is so pre-recorded. So who knows what's actually going to be happening
Yeah.
on July 17th? But very exciting though. So happy birthday, happy 70th birthday, of course, to Disneyland. And that brings us to our final segment of the podcast, our Disney memory. So you have a memory? For
Yes, my memory is of the Polynesian because I remember one time you and I, it was very, very, very hot. Daddy was working at the hotel as usual. And you and I went to the park and the monorail broke down. We kept waiting and waiting and everybody kept saying you could walk over to the Polynesian from here. We were at the Ticket and
Yeah, we were at Ticket
Transportation
and
Center when it
Transportation
broke
Center,
down
yes.
or whatever. And it said you could walk over to the Polynesian. Well, it looks really cool to walk over there because you say, oh, it's not that far. And you can kind of see the ceremonial house from where you're up on the platform of the monorail. But when we got down to the bottom and walked all the way to the Polynesian, when you get into that property from where we were coming, all of a sudden, all the trees, all the buildings were so high that we could not see the ceremonial house.
Yeah.
And we kept walking around the paths and there was nobody to ask where we should go. We were walking through buildings. We were walking through paths. I remember it was so hot. We couldn't breathe. We wanted something to drink. And I remember getting lost in the Polynesian. And I was like, oh my God, why can't we just look up and see the ceremonial house and know where we're going?
From that same trip, what I remember the most is the old lobby for the Polynesian. So the Polynesian used to have this
favorite,
little like
yes.
ecosystem in the lobby where it's like a waterfall and all these plants and
orchids. And, it was beautiful.
Yeah, a lot of flora and fauna, and it was huge. It was massive.
Yes.
So they eventually took it down and put up something smaller, so that way they could have more seating.
More seating in the lobby, yes.
Which makes sense in theory because the seating was pretty strapped, honestly.
It was very.
But I remember after we walked forever trying to find the Polynesian, we finally got there, and then we sat down in these two really big chairs in the lobby, and it was just so lovely.
That's all we did.
We
just
sat there for like 2 hours.
We just sat there for a while until Daddy could come and pick us up. We just sat there and got a drink and just sat there and just watched the fountains. It was just great just to hang out.
It was so lovely. And again, I really missed that lobby. I thought it was really great.
One of these days we're gonna have to stay there.
Yeah, I know in theory.
I miss that wall.
I know in theory why they took it away. Like it makes sense, but at the same time, like but it was so nice. Like I think it was worth it to have less seating. I don't know. I say as someone who was just like who doesn't work there.
That's why I used to make us go to Kona Cafe too, just for breakfast. A lot of times.
Yeah,
we used to drive over to Kona Cafe just to have breakfast. When you were little, especially just because I wanted to go into the Polynesian and I wanted to see that wall of that fountain with flowers and sit there in Kona Cafe and the whole atmosphere of it.
But all right, thanks everyone for listening to this week's episode of the podcast. Make sure you give us a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, or leave a comment down below if you're watching on YouTube, and make sure to subscribe as well. And on our Instagram, Almost Amanda X, let us know, also linked in the description, how would you rank the 4 main Magic Kingdom resorts? Which one have you stayed in? Which ones do you want to stay in? Which ones are you like, no, I probably wouldn't stay in that one because I like other ones better? Or are you not a Magic Kingdom resort person at all? Are you more of a Skyliner resort person? Are you more of like the Epcot resort person?
Or an Animal Kingdom.
Animal Kingdom resorts. Yeah. So again, lots of other resorts on Disney property. Would love to hear it. Again, obviously too, these are all 4 deluxe resorts. So again, maybe deluxe resorts are too pricey.
Right.
Again, like a lot of same amenities, you can get the Valley resorts too. And sometimes the Valley resorts have like more nicer stuff.
Right.
If we talk
Some of the other resorts
are
very nice. I've stayed in a couple of them.
Yeah, no, love the Valley resorts for sure. But yeah, definitely let us know. We'll love to hear your thoughts. But until then, we'll see you.